Hey, welcome to the Gathering Spot with Halima. In this episode, I had the honor of working with Sisters Dialogue, who are located right here in Edmonton, Alberta, which is located on Treaty 6 territory, to share in a promo of their series, Same Same But Different, exploring our shared worth. Same But Different is aimed at fostering relationship building, enhancing access to the arts, and challenging Islamophobia and anti-Muslim hate through storytelling and artistic expression. I was able to interview and have a conversation with two of the participants of Same But Different, Ameera and Shafia, and I talked to them a bit about what drew them to this project, the diversity of Muslim women, what Same But Different has meant to them, and so much more. You guys, they are amazing. The exhibit highlights visibility, strength, solidarity, perspective, and liberation. So please come celebrate this showcase at its launch at Edmonton's City Hall on October 11th from 1 to 4 p.m. The link to the event will be in the description of this episode. Please enjoy the episode. I'm here with two participants of Same But Different for Sisters Dialogue, Shafia Khan and Ameera Sheikh Mohammed. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you.
Yeah, we were talking about Marvel and the cinematic universe and superhero movies earlier, but they in their own way are superheroes. I feel they've been working on this wonderful project with Sisters Dialogue. And so, in your own words, Ameera and Shafia, each of you, how would you describe Same But Different?
I would describe it as showcasing that there are Muslim women that come in different ways and identities, and that there's some people that cover up, some people that show their hair, and that we all have a safe space that we can come to, and that's it's nice, we're same but we're also different.
Yeah.
And we can learn from our strengths and learn from our experiences. So I think it's a really great opportunity for Muslim women in today's age to feel safe and comfortable with their identity.
And for you?
Yeah, I think similar. I think it was something that attracted me to it was because I sort of feel like people look at me and maybe don't know I'm Muslim all the time, or Muslims look at me and decide what kind of Muslim I am. So I think it's important to showcase different types of Muslims, that we all look different. We have different backgrounds.
Yeah.
I've learned so much about the women in this project already, that we come from so many different walks of life, and you really can't put us in a cookie cutter. That's just not how we are. And so that helps you understand Muslims, and just showing that we're just human.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to let people know right now.
Yeah, and we all just fit into different sort of boxes and different sort of ways of life, because not only are we Muslim, what are we culturally? What are we, the way we were raised? Where were we born? Because a lot of people, I'm Canadian, but I'm also Muslim, but I'm also Caribbean, and I don't wear hijab, but I also do try and be the best, person that I can be in terms of where I am in society and the impact I kind of want to make on the world. Mm-hmm. I think, we toe a very interesting line. Mm-hmm. How do you guys feel about that line that we toe?
Yeah, I feel there was this book I read, Welcome Home by Najwa Zebian, and she's a Lebanese Muslim who's also living in the West, and she talks about issues I've felt being too Western, or not Muslim enough, or too Muslim for Westerners, or too Western for Muslims, and she kind of talks about finding a space, and kind of it opened my eyes, because you never really see people talk from that perspective, a Muslim Westerner talking about their experience, and it helps you feel seen. Yeah. And I think it's nice to see Muslim women and Muslim men helping the world now, Muslim people with finding a space, or there's just a lot of books from their experience of sorry no, they just have a lot of the books I would read would talk about it from a Western point, and being independent, where in our Muslim tradition, family is very important too, and community.
Yeah. So
it's nice to know that you can balance both, and that you can read from other people's perspectives. Mm-hmm. Too.
Can you give a bit about who you both are and what inspired you to get involved with Same Same But Different and Sisters Dialogue and your background?
Yeah, I think I chose to be a part of it because I was going through this phase where after I became a mom, I was kind of like, who am I?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I don't know if men go through that. I don't think they have this identity crisis. Because for me, like motherhood, obviously, like it changes you so much. Your career suddenly doesn't matter, and you don't. Your hobbies change, your friends change, your circles change, and it's like, okay, who am I?
Yeah.
And then my husband is Guyanese and I'm Fijian, but obviously I don't like I never thought of myself as like I'm from Fiji. Like I wasn't born there, so I don't relate to it as much as obviously my family would, my parents would. But then when you have a kid, it's like, oh, I want to implement my culture into my son's life. So now I have to learn about it and learn the food and yeah, and then and so that kind of came with it like, okay, who am I? Where am I coming from? What am I showing my son? Like, what are we? Like, you're not just raised on poutine, right? You're not just Canadian. So so I was kind of going through one of those kind of phases, and then the Sisters Dialogue project came up, and I was really attracted to it, and kind of helped me just brainstorm and think about, okay, who really am I? How do I identify?
What about you? What inspired you to get in? Who are you to be inspired that you want to share your story, your legacy, and create a legacy of changing the mold of how Muslim women look?
Yeah,
through art. Yeah.
I started volunteering with Sisters Dialogue for about a year and a half, and then when the project came up, I felt like since I've been with this organization, they've helped so much people, and they've made me feel very like comfortable and like safe in this space.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I have to like present a certain way to be accepted, and I felt that like also to find who I am too, because I felt like I was going through an identity crisis, like who am I and like what are my beliefs, and it's nice to find like a community of women who like help you with resources and help you like with those like problems that you have. And like from the project, taking the photos and working on the writing portions, like I learned a lot about things that I never would have tackled without doing this project. So I feel like it's going to stick with me, and it's something that brought me out of my comfort zone. Like I was very nervous at first, but I felt like this could help me like feel more stronger and do more things in the future that I feel uncomfortable with.
For sure.
Because once I did it, I felt like, oh, that wasn't like
it wasn't
too bad. And it helped me feel like I can accomplish a lot with like the sisters I've met here, and I've met a lot of like new people here, and I think that it's like a nice sense of community.
Are you born and raised here in Edmonton?
I was born in Ottawa, and then we moved to Edmonton, and I lived in Dubai for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
From 15 to 17. And I feel like that's kind of where like the culture shock came from, because living in the West, and then we're over here, like eye contact is a very like important thing. And when I went over there, it's like you aren't supposed to make eye contact with like men. And then when I came back here, it's like it was seen as rude. So it's like I was feeling like I'm being told like eye contact is rude, and then I'm being told that eye contact is like a sign of like respect. And so it's like there's like all these like different
ways of life.
So it's like it felt like cognitive dissonance. Like I was like, okay, I'm feeling this way, but I'm also feeling this way. And being there, like I saw a lot of like Muslims, and I felt very comfortable over there, like expressing like Islam, like wearing the abaya and the hijab, because I felt like that was like everyone there does it, and you don't get any like looks. And it's normal. And I've always felt like coming in the West, like I like it's very like there is like a lot of Islamophobia, and like it feels, for me, it felt like easier to like go through life without like presenting sometimes, and it felt hard, like I'm not strong enough and stuff like that. And it's like always this like inner battle of like, am I like a good Muslim, like am I like Western? And like I think Western is always like used in a negative way, like you're too Western. It's like it's like an insult, and it's like trying to find that balance.
It's an interesting concept, like you're too Western, right? Like what else am I supposed to be? Do I necessarily So I go back to Guyana and I had this conversation like, yeah, but even if I go back, is it the place for me to go back to? Like, is it the home that I call? Because sure, culturally, my parents are from there. Like, we still eat the foods. I go to Cary West. Like, you still are impacted by so many things you do culturally. But when you go back to the said country, is it necessarily a home for me? Or am I just a visitor? And is it okay? I guess the question is it okay that I'm a visitor? I think we battle that question a lot. Like, they can tell that we're Canadian and we're westernized, but to them it's like, oh, but you lost who you were. But at the same time, if you go to these places are like, I want this money to build this big house. And so, like, what does it mean? What is the right way?
I think that's just, like, your life is so different though. Like, was that ever your home?
Yeah.
Like, is it a bad thing to be a visitor? Because it's just, you've gone through a different way of life.
Exactly, yeah. You live differently.
Yeah.
Shafia, what does the impact of same but different mean to you?
I would hope, like we mentioned, that it kind of opens people's eyes to look at Muslims differently, look at people of color differently, and not judge us. Like, I think, being in the Muslim attire, being dressed a certain way, people have all these ideas, people have all these judgments, and I mean, it's downright not safe sometimes. And I think that does impact me wearing hijab right now as well. I need to feel safe, and I think, when I have my son with me, like, that's impacted. Like, okay, I don't want to be a target for people. So I think at the very least, if it does that, and it just shows people that, like, we're human, we're normal, we're not a threat. You don't need to have this idea that the news is telling you. Like, I think that's big.
Yeah. And especially, like, for you, Ameera, you said coming from Dubai from 15 to 16, like, those are formative years of growing into who you are as a teenager. How has, what impact do you hope that this exhibit and this series makes in pushing the narrative forward?
I think that it, like, shows that you could have, like, both identities, like, in yourself, and that's okay. Like, I don't have to be just one.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel safe in that instead of choosing which, like, ideals I want to follow, and, like, feeling like I can create, like, my own values too that, like, incorporate, like, both.
Yeah.
And then that just feels like this is, like, a space where you could, because there are a lot of places where if you think different or, like, you are different, then it's not really allowed or open for discussion. But here it's very, like, a lot of the people here, the sisters, are very open to, like, everyone's story and their background, and it feels just very accepting. Like, like, I feel like it's very different from, like, what I, like, when I grew up, I didn't feel like there was, like, a community, like, there'd be, like, elders and stuff at the mosque, but their, like, life was very different from, like, the ones, like, and, like, at sisters here, there's, like, a lot from our, like, the generation I came from. So it's like we're able to, like, relate on the same things, and like, it feels supportive.
You feel like you belong. You found a place where it's like I can just come and be me and live in those worlds that I am so many different things.
Very supportive environment. It's almost like therapeutic, where you're just, like, comfortable. It doesn't matter. You can say anything.
Like, your stories are among numerous stories of fellow inspiring women. Was there a moment or a story that stood out to you while doing this series?
I don't remember all the details, but I do know that we've had some refugees that have come from war-torn countries that are a part of this project, and I think that's very impactful to me. Obviously, I can't relate to that personally, and it's kind of one of those things, like, as a Canadian brought up here, I just hear about it and I just see it on the news to actually to be in the presence of someone who's been through that. And I mean, like, they're okay and they're here and they're thriving. Like, I think that's amazing, but also it's just so powerful.
We are all born with labels of expectations and titles on our backs. How do you feel that Same But Different has inspired each of you to rip off those labels of expectations and create your own? I feel like these are deep questions that we not prepared for.
I feel like I want to say that's, like, a lifetime struggle as, like, being a daughter. I feel like, no offense to daughters. But it's just something that you have to struggle with, that you're always compared to people, you're always compared to your siblings, your cousins, you're compared to some other auntie's daughter, right?
Yeah.
Like, she did that, why can't you do this? Or so and so is a this, why didn't you become this?
Yeah.
And I think the labels, like, that struggle doesn't go away,
Yeah.
right? Like, I remember, sorry, but like when I became a mom, I was like, oh, great, like I'm a mom now, like I get to make the rules. But then to your own mother, you're still
not-
just a kid.
You're a kid.
You're
Oh
still
my
getting
God.
yelled at.
Yeah.
You're still getting in trouble, and she's like, there's no winning. You don't get promoted ever.
Yeah.
So I think it's just it is a battle, but I think you have to understand that you're not going to please people. You're not winning anything.
Yeah.
So it's best to do what makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You have to live with yourself, live in your own head, and you have to be happy with what you are, be proud of who you are, and that maybe you'll never please certain people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's
it. And what do I say? We're the aunties now. It's not.
We're the aunties now.
We're the aunties now.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a generation of like we're raising young people and young girls, young boys to be in their own ways, in their own paths, because like we didn't have that, right?
Yeah.
We had the label of like be a good girl, do this, don't do that, don't talk to this boy, don't do this and that. And like, yeah, but what does that mean, really? Because I live in a world where what you were raised on is very different than what I was raised on. That's why, our parents left the countries that they left to raise us in a Western world to give us a little bit better.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can give a little bit better to the next generation by creating our own path.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. For you, how do you feel about ripping off those labels and creating, like I said, like creating your own path, creating your own labels? And your labels are going to change, right? Like Shafia said, who you are and who you start out with is not who you're going to be in like 20 years.
Yeah. I think like some of the labels like I struggled with was like being like a good, like the perfect child, the perfect sister, the perfect like aunt. And I always feel like every time I get like a new title, it feels like more responsibility. It's like now I have to be like the best sister, the best aunt. And like I feel like sometimes where like if I ever have like a moment where like I don't want to like play with my siblings, I beat myself up for being like a bad sister or like and like I feel like I really live by like those labels, like, and like being like even in school like the perfect student, like helping the teacher like during recess too to get like that like being told you're doing a really good job or I'm proud of you. And I felt like I always just chased that that need for like approval from people,
validation.
Yeah, like I needed them to say like I'm doing good. And obviously now like as an adult like it's kind of hard because like I feel like I'm still seeking it, but it's not appropriate as an adult to like always do that. So I feel like just trying to learn how to like be more kind to myself and not trying to be like the perfect Muslim or the perfect daughter, the perfect like just trying to like be a good person. I feel like it's the good intention, because I feel like if I do one wrong thing, it's like I'm bad instead of like it being like a gray area. Like I think very black and white, like and I'm trying to like dissolve those like labels and just exist. Like I feel like labels, they put a lot of pressure on me because like and I feel like if when like I become a mom, it's gonna feel like now I'm a mom too. And, like, now I feel like it's like like I feel like there's roles that like or like expectations to like even like as a child and it feels like a lot of expectations that you just have to break free from.
I feel like that comes from like people pleasing, right? Like that's something that's in us and that we're told to do, and oh, if you do this you'll be good. But it's like, I think like you said, it's important to be a good person. It's important to be confident, make your own decisions. And I think if you're not hurting people actively, like you can't please everyone. You're never gonna win. So you just have to see where you're putting your energy, right?
And I think as you grow and we learn like how we want to show up in the world changes so much. That speaking of which, you wrote a really beautiful thing under your photo, and it says we don't walk through the world, we walk within. For each of you, as the world changes, what is the message that you hope to leave on the impact that you hope to hopefully make one day?
I hope to inspire people to chase their dreams, even if it's not the traditional path that like was like created for us, like for our
Yeah.
parents or our communities. Like there's a lot of like ways that they want us to live our life, and we could still respect them, but also choose to live like our own path.
Yeah.
And like for me, I make candles. I've been doing that for 5 years, and I've always felt like maybe if I went like going to university to be a doctor or like a lawyer, maybe like I would get that like approval from everyone.
Yeah.
And it seems silly to people to like take a hobby and like I mean at 5 years now, even though it's not like at the level I want, I love it and I feel like I like to just continue it. And
Yeah.
for other people, I feel like they have a lot of expectations for me, but I feel like just like walking to the beat of your own drum. And like I hope to inspire people that like even though I've chosen this path and I thought like, oh, everyone would be disappointed, it's like everyone's like, okay, you know, it's not the end of the world. And I feel like I'd always just not give myself like opportunities because I felt like what would so and so think, or like what would they think of me if I did this, or what would they, and just doing it and then you see how they respond, it just helps you feel like you can do more stuff without fear.
Yeah, we're in our head a lot about what people may think of us.
Yeah.
And their perception of us, but that's their perception, and we can't necessarily control that. Yeah. Shafia, what kind of impact do you hope to make on the world that you impact?
I think I'll go with the line like we are the aunties now, and I think that's like big. So how are we treating our children? How are we treating the next generation? I think a lot of times it's women pull other women down, which isn't a nice thought, but I think that's just there's things that are in you and you end up portraying that, right? And I think we need to be very mindful of how we treat girls and that we're not being judgmental, we're not shaming certain things, we're not setting unrealistic expectations, because society can only change so much, right? Like biologically and whatever, like we do have responsibilities that we can't run away from, and we don't need all that extra pressure. We don't need oh, I got distracted. We don't need that extra pressure. We don't. So I think, like I think there's words we've been hearing for so long, like just be more empathetic, be more grateful, you know, don't be so selfish, help people, but also take care of yourself. I think that's something that our generation is really working on now, is that self-care that people before us didn't have, and they just burnt out and they're bitter and they're whatever. So yeah, it's still a lot of things. It's still a lot of things to balance, but being more mindful, I guess, of your needs, right? And just being nicer. Yeah.
Ameera, do you have a story or a moment of the series that has inspired you?
I don't really know who brought up the topic, but it was about like mental health, and it kind of like made me feel like kind of seen, because that's a very taboo subject, really.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
still growing.
To see people respond with like therapy and just like solutions that are like very like modern, instead of you shouldn't feel that way. It felt very like opening to like have discussions like that and like hearing the responses, because I feel like I would have been scared to like say that, because I felt like there's just so much like stigma around that, and it helped me like feel that you could just be open like about who you are and your true self. And like this is a space where you can be like your true self, and it's really nice.
And that's the nice thing about this initiative, right? Like it took on those conversations that are hard conversations to have, even within your own family. I mean, we come from generations that are like, I don't go to therapy, that's not for me, right? Because it's such a taboo thing, and like, why are you expressing yourself through art? Like, why do you want to be an actor? Why do you want to be a painter, right? Like, why do you want to be all of these things that doesn't make money, essentially? Because our generation, like our parents' generation, is very like, if it doesn't make you money, is it worth it? Right? And like, let's push our passions to the side and let's work for like settling almost for what we think is right and what we should be doing. Why are initiatives like this one so important to Muslim women and girls?
I think like when like in a lot of like modern culture now, we're seeing Muslim women in spaces like in magazine covers and doing things like artists and like dancing and like painting, and like every day like you can see Muslims doing things where you never like would have thought that they
Yeah.
could, or they have like hobbies that like interests that like I'm interested in
Yeah.
too as well, that I never like would have found. And it's nice to see that there's a lot of like sisters now that are open about their hobbies
loud
and
about
interests.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
and like because then it shows people that they could be allowed to do those things too.
Yeah.
And like it, like for me too, when I see people that are like vocal about it, I feel like I could be a gardener. I can paint and not have like to explain
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
They just kind of get it, and it's good to have people that see the world like how you see it.
Yeah.
And
Share that similar interest.
Yeah.
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 For you, Shafia?
I think we've talked about this before about how religion was taught to our parents and how they
Yeah.
gave it to us, and it was very fearful. It was very, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's haram. God will be mad.
Yeah.
You're going to go to hell. And we never talk about the mercy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. And we never talk about how forgiving he actually is.
Yeah.
And I think that creates a lot of like rigidness and a lot of fear, and there's just not a lot of tolerance in some of our, you know, in the way we were taught it. And so that doesn't let you be free and be comfortable and, you know, maybe go after your interests or make mistakes. You feel like you can't. You feel like, oh, well, if I did this, I'm never going to be able to come back from it. And yeah, so just creating some tolerance and acceptance just in our own homes, right? That like, I think at the end of the day, like, if you're not hurting people and you're not a bad person, like, it's okay. And just remember that like everyone is going to do different things. Everyone is going to make different decisions, go down different paths, but there's always that mercy. There's always that room and that space for it. That,
You both have worked on artwork. You both have worked on yourselves. You both have grown in this series. So I'm excited for you because this exhibit is on October 11th at City Hall from 1 to 4 p.m. How do you guys feel?
I'm excited to see it all come together.
Yeah.
And how like the photos, the art, like the writing, how it all like, and seeing people's like response to it. It'll be nice to see how they respond.
Yeah, how they do.
Yeah.
And they're like, see, we're more than one thing.
Yeah. I'm excited. I hope my stuff makes sense. Like I hope it's like continuous and it tells a story. But no, I'm very excited to see everyone's
all our
work.
artwork was like so different from each other. Like, and we all had the same like materials and the same like prompt. So it was like nice to see like everyone's different like
interpretations of how they see themselves. So it's the same. I want to thank both of you for sitting down with me to chat with you about something so impactful and moving forward the needle in mental health, and not only who we are as Muslim women, but women in general, and impacting the world in such a way is so beautiful. Thank you for being courageous enough to be vulnerable to express yourselves, because I know that takes a lot, especially like you said, being people pleasers and looking for validation. We kind of make ourselves small. So thank you for glowing. Thank you for sharing your work, and I really do appreciate you both.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.